Happy Sunday, everybody. Welcome to The Sweat, presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. I'm Jesse Cofield. We are down to the final 6 teams in the NFL. All right, 2 divisional games last night. You got Chiefs, Eagles moving on. As for what's in store today, as you can see, I'm joined by Julian Edlow, Steve Buchanan, Josh Applebaum. We're going to get your best bets coming up in a minute here, okay? But we're also going to hand out some prop bets. We're going to hit on the biggest question marks coming our way for today. But first, let's talk about yesterday, okay? Mahomes, he sustained an ankle injury, refused to leave the game, put the team on his back, led the Chiefs to a win, put the Chiefs on his ankle, really, one ankle.
Right.
Jags bettors were pleased, right, because they covered, but not as many points for those overs bettors. Eagles cruise, but again, did not hit the over in that one. Not great. What stood out, though? Did the Eagles, answer any questions for you guys? Chiefs need Mahomes. What do you think, Steve?
I mean, I think a lot of it has to do with how fraudulent the Vikings were.
That was my first takeaway as well.
That was amazing. The Giants came in and they looked like a team that had no business even being in the playoffs. But I think really this isn't a testament on the Giants. Maybe they are who they are. This is more of a testament of just how bad that Vikings team was, that the Eagles were able to steamroll them the way that they did after struggling against their B squad in Week 18. So I think that is the Eagles team we should expect moving forward. But boy, oh boy, do the Vikings need some help in this offseason.
Yeah, what do you think, Jules?
Yeah, I think the win for Philly maybe now puts them in a spot where we overvalue them a little bit going into the conference championship game. And whenever we figure out if it's Dallas or San Francisco going in there, obviously getting some points maybe puts them in a better spot as a more tested team going into that game. And then the Mahomes ankle is going to be the storyline, right. Whether they're hosting the Bengals or they're going down to Atlanta for a neutral against the Bills. This guy's got a week to get what looked to be a pretty serious ankle injury right. I'm sure he's on the table right now with a swollen grapefruit, getting whatever done, and we'll see how the week goes for him. But that's going to be there, and it's going to play a factor in a guy that, all those Mahomes plays, his highlight package. He's always scrambling around making these throws, and he wasn't able to do that.
Yeah, Josh, what do you think? I mean, Jags keeping it close.
Yeah, on behalf of all Jags bettors, thank you, Doug Peterson, down by 10, kicking a field goal there, covering the number. But Jesse, I'll just point toward that Giants-Philly game. That was really interesting to me because I like the gross dogs, like Jags getting less than half the tickets, contrarian dogs. When you become a popular dog, you lose your value. So you hear this a lot. Fade the trendy dog. It's something that I believe in wholeheartedly, and that I think Giants game was a perfect example. The Giants were getting 65, 70% of bets. They were the really popular play, but what happened with the line and what kept going to Philly? Philly was, -7 up to 7.5, up to 8. Why was the line continuing to go to Philly? Yet when you had all this public betting here on the Giants. So we have another example here today with the Bengals and the Bills, but to me it's fade the trendy dog. Remember that. If a dog becomes popular, typically I like to bet against those popular dogs.
All right, well, yesterday we handed out a few best bets. Josh took 9 points with the Jags. Julian teased the Chiefs and Eagles for a win.
We got that middle on Chiefs-Jags that we were talking about. The teaser hit, but the dog cashed.
Yeah, and with the Mahomes injury,
Jeff
McKinnon's
totally, it was
role
injury-related.
might have changed. Steve going to take an L on the receiving yards over yesterday. Overall, on these bets, you guys are just under 66% for your win percentage total. Pretty dang good. Let's keep it rolling. Josh, what do we have for today?
I'm taking another dog here, Jesse. Give me the Dallas Cowboys. Now, what's really interesting to me is the Cowboys are typically a very popular bet, quote-unquote America's team. But today, they're not the popular bet. They're actually getting a contrarian play here. Public is all over San Francisco. We all have seen San Francisco win all these games in a row. Brock Purdy is the next big thing here. But what's the market telling us? You're getting across the board San Francisco about 62% of bets, yet this line is pretty much staying where it's at or slightly moving toward Dallas. It opened at a lot of shops. San Fran as high as -4.5, -4. Got down to 3.5 throughout the week. It's back up to 4 at most shops. So you can shop around if you like San Fran here. You probably want to find the 3.5. If you like Dallas like me, try to find the 4. But either way, 3.5 or 4, I'll take the points here, Jesse. Playoff dogs with a line move in their favor. They're 17-7 against the spread, 71% last 5 years. Road dogs are 4-2 ATS this year. They're 61% the last 5 years. And Dak Prescott, 12-6 ATS. 67% as a dog getting 3 points or more. So I'm going to take the points with Dallas. Again, 3.5, 4, find your best number. But I got the Cowboys here covering this number.
Julian, you do not agree.
This is the first time this season
head-to-head,
I think
Julian.
we've had a lot of bets given out on this show, and this will be our first head-to-head. Dallas is the sharper play here. Dallas is the professional play here. Not all of those hit. The public win bets sometimes, and I'm riding with the public today and laying the 3.5 with the 49ers. I think this is a really hard spot for Dallas. You're going to hear a lot about the 4 consecutive road games for them, which it is. I care more about they were on the road last week on Monday night. Now they're on the road again against the San Francisco team that won a home game on Saturday night. 2 extra days of rest at the most difficult time of the year to play. 2 extra days of prep time at the most important time of year to prep. Now, this is going to be, the San Fran defense has not played that many good offenses. They played the Chiefs. The Chiefs got into the 40s. Dallas should score here, and I do like the over in this game as well. But the Niners, they get well into the 30s. Every game Brock Purdy has played, except for the short week first road game in Seattle. So I really think the Niners are going to put up points here and be able to limit Dallas enough. That running game, the guys, like Brock Purdy's going to have a bad game eventually, and Dallas has the pressure that they can put on him. But McCaffrey, Debo, hand the ball to him, quick slants, Kittle, they have the perfect weapons and pass protection to be able to withstand it.
All right, Steve, you're going to the other game.
Yeah, I'm going to take the points here with the Cincinnati Bengals. This is a public play that's been pretty popular. But that being said, this is only going to be the 3rd time this season the Bengals are underdogs. They've gone 2-0 in that scenario against the spread. Burrow, as an underdog in his career, is 15-7 against the spread, and he is covered in 7 straight games in that scenario. Now, when you talk about those games that the Bengals were underdogs in, they were 3-point dogs to the Baltimore Ravens, and then they beat Kansas City outright as 3-point dogs in that one as well. The thing with the Bills, they're just having issues putting away these mediocre teams as of late. They couldn't put away the Patriots. They couldn't put away the Dolphins, who was led by Skylar Thompson. And now they're going to go up against arguably the toughest offense they've faced in weeks now with the Bengals, who are basically fully healthy for this game. Buffalo 3-5 as a home favorite against the spread this season. I'm taking the points here with the Bengals.
All right, guys, thank you very much. Julian touched on it. We know Brock Purdy lit up the Seahawks last weekend, San Fran putting up 41 points. But can he do it again versus the Cowboys tonight? Julian hopes so. We'll see if Steve and Julian are brocking along when the Sweat, presented by DraftKings Sportsbook, returns.
Oh, boy.
DraftKings Sportsbook is an official sports betting partner of the NFL, and this season, new customers can bet $5 to win $200 in free bets instantly. Use code SWEAT when you sign up. Welcome back to The Sweat, presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. I'm Jesse Cofield, and it is getting hot in here. Over here across the room, we have DraftKings contributors Julian Edlow and Steve Buchanan, ready to tell us what they're sweating today as we close in on the divisional round game. So, Steve, earlier in the week, you tweeted out a great little nugget.
I did.
Good job.
About Tom Brady,
Thanks.
Brock Purdy, and the Dallas pass rush. So, should Dallas's defense have Purdy sweating today? What do we think?
Yeah, so basically what that was is that Tom Brady in the pocket was the fastest to get rid of the ball at 2.33 seconds. Brock Purdy is ranked 24th at 2.88. Doesn't sound like a big difference there, but obviously Purdy is holding on to the ball a little bit more. And if you look at how stellar that Cowboys pass rush was last week, that was a huge reason why Brady struggled as much as he did. It really wasn't that he wasn't hitting his receivers. He couldn't even have the time to hit his receivers. Now, that being said, you can be fair to say that the 49ers offensive line is a lot stronger. There's a lot more weapons and ways that the 49ers can move the ball, where the Buccaneers are pretty one-dimensional. So I think it is going to be something that's notable because Brock Purdy, obviously a rookie, this might be the toughest pass rush that he's faced since he's taken over as the starter. And I think they're going to try to get a lot of pressure on him in this game. I still like the 49ers in this game, but I think the pass rush is going to be a major issue, even with how good the 49ers can be up front.
Jules, you said he's due for a regression at some point. Is this it?
He has to be, and a Dallas defense that's better than the defenses that he's played during this run will probably get to him a little bit. But San Francisco, to me, I mean, he's got to get rid of the ball quicker if San Francisco is going to have success here. But San Francisco has the weapons to do that. Tom Brady threw 66 passes in that game. Brock Purdy is not going to throw 66 times in this game. They will be less predictable. And I think you can just get guys like McCaffrey, Debo involved in so many ways, whether you hand it to them, screen pass, quick slant, ways to get the ball to your playmakers quickly and let them do the work against a Cowboys secondary that is not nearly as strong as that pass rush.
All right, the Bengals started the season with questions on the offensive line. Then that last week, left tackle Jonah Williams was hurt. So, Jules, how much are you sweating the Bengals protecting Joe Burrow? Because in their 4 losses, they allowed 20 sacks. In their 12 wins, they allowed 24.
Sweating it a lot. That is the storyline here. Joe Burrow didn't have an offensive line last year, somehow carried that team to the Super Bowl. They did a great job of filling their main need and shoring up that offensive line. And now they're all dinged up again, and they're in the same position playing in the postseason with no offensive line for Joe Burrow. The good news for the Bengals is that they've been here before and done this before and won these types of games before. But the more you put yourself in this situation, the more opportunities you're giving yourself for that eventually to stop working. So I think you have to sweat it a lot, and I think that's why this opened 3.5, and we've seen a huge move on Buffalo at home.
And that being said, too, obviously Buffalo is missing their best pass rusher with Von Miller. So obviously that does take away something there. But you cannot deny that Joe Burrow is going to be under a lot of pressure in this game because that's what Buffalo's going to want to do. We all know the weakness of the Bengals is that flimsy offensive line with the amount of injuries that they're dealing with right now. But this is also something that Joe Burrow has been dealing with all season long. He's been under pressure about 27% of his dropbacks and still completing about 55% of his pass attempts in that scenario. That's actually the 4th best mark in the league. So it's not something that Joe Burrow is not accustomed to because this is all he's basically dealt with since being in the NFL. But again, it is something to worry about here. But I do think this is a great game for Joe Mixon to kind of catch those quick passes out of the backfield if that pressure does arise. So I think this is a good spot for Mixon. That's why I still like the Bengals even at the 5.5.
All right, so on the other side of that game, Bills have been riding an emotional roller coaster since that Week 17 game against the Bengals. The DeMar Hamlin injury, very scary. Any reason to sweat the Bills just running out of steam here? We talked about this earlier, Steve. We've seen them just having so much trouble to close out these mediocre teams like the Miami game.
Well, that's a big issue, and that's why I like the Bengals in this spot. In the last 2 games that they've played, they've given up 54 points to the Dolphins with Skylar Thompson and Mac Jones and the Patriots. This was a team that we thought was going to be so good defensively. The secondary was going to be one of their biggest strengths. If anything, lately, it's actually been one of their biggest weaknesses. And then right here, the turnovers from Josh Allen. We always would say Josh Allen would be an elite quarterback if he can limit the turnovers. That's starting to rear its head again. 7 in his last 4 games, including the playoffs. If they start getting that point where who's going to win the turnover game, I like the Bengals' chances a lot here. So I think there's a lot of reasons to worry about the Bills, even though they are the healthier team at this point.
Yeah, I mean, Buffalo is a lot like Kansas City in this sense that they win at home but don't cover at home. They have 7 home wins, right? But they're 3-5 against the spread at home this season. So this is a spot where, I get why taking the points is so attractive. And you see them, the games that you mentioned in the division are the examples. Struggling to put away Miami and New England at this time of the year is a red flag for the Bills. Now, they were division games. We know division games can be tougher. We just saw it with Baltimore and Cincy last week. So it's a tough game to get a feel for, but the turnover stat is a huge part of it. Josh Allen turnovers will tell the story as much as Joe Burrow sacks tell the story in terms of who winds up winning this game. Those are the two key stats that we want to look at.
All right, good stuff, you two. Coming up next, we're going to see where the public is putting their money and then break down what we can learn from that. The Sweat, presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. We'll be right back. DraftKings Sportsbook is an official sports betting partner of the NFL, and this season, new customers can bet $5 to win $200 in free bets instantly. Use code SWEAT when you sign up. What's up, guys? I'm Jesse Cofield alongside Julian Edlow and Josh Applebaum, and we're about to find out what we can learn from where the public is leaning today on these games. So, public loves the Bengals getting the 5.5 points. 56% of the handle, 69% of the bets. They love the over to hit as well. 77% of the handle, 80% of the bets. So, Josh, help me out here. What is the public saying? So, bets keep coming in on Cincy despite this line growing. It's 5.5.
Yeah, Jesse, a lot of times you're going to hear pro versus Joe. I think that's something that you're going to hear quite a bit on gambling Twitter and if you hang out at a sports book. What that basically means is you have the professionals on one side and the public completely on the other side. So this reminds me quite a bit, basically combined with that Giants game from yesterday where basically the Giants were the public dog. Same thing today, but even more so with Cincinnati. So anytime I see a situation where the public is all over one side, yet the line's going the other way, to me that's cause for concern. I get all the stats here with Joe Burrow covering these numbers, but what's the market doing? Everyone's back in Cincinnati. Why does the line keep going to Buffalo? So to me, that tells me that the odds makers have taken a position on Buffalo. It tells me smart money's on Buffalo here. You would have wanted to get this number a little bit better. It opened 3.5, so it's hard to lay the 5.5 to 6 now. But to me, it's Buffalo or nothing here. And I think if you look at kind of the issue here with the offensive line, and also if you look back to that DeMar Hamlin game, it was only Buffalo minus 2.5 on the road. This thing opened 3.5 at home. I think that opener is just way too low. If you typically give 2 to 3 points home field advantage, you're 2.5 on the road, you should be more like 5.5 here where the game is now. So to me, this is a beware public trendy dog here with Cincinnati. I'd lay the points here with Buffalo. They remind me of the Eagles last night. Julian, what do you think? Fade the public here?
Yeah, I would lean towards fading the public if I had to bet the spread where it is at. But I will say, the line move, I don't know if as much of that sharp money is coming in now, that professional money that Josh is talking about, at the 5.5. I think the 3.5 was identified as a mistake, which, like Josh said, the line in Cincy tells us that probably was off, and that money came in from respected bettors, and that's where the line is where it is now. So I think the move in this one is kind of unique because it means that, this game could land on 4 or 5, and there could be people cashing different sides depending on where you got the number this week. So, the way I look at it now, Burrow's obviously an attractive underdog that the public loves to back. I think that the Bengals can be used in a teaser, getting them all the way up. I don't think the Bills can put anyone away by double digits right now, but I would be very nervous at just the 5.5, if that makes sense.
All right, well, in the second game, the public likes the favorites. So 49ers are getting 60% of the handle, 61% of the bets on the minus 3.5 points. Heavy action on the over 46.5 as well. 74% of both handle and bets on that. So, Jules, what can we learn here? You like the 49ers.
I do. And like I said off the top when I gave it out as my best bet, professionals win a lot of their bets. They don't win all of their bets. The public wins sometimes, and you got to balance it out. I think the public is going to be right on the 49ers, fading the Cowboys here. So the betting splits tell you the story. Maybe you want to be a little bit wary, but I think that San Francisco, just from the position that they are in with the extra 2 days of rest, being at home, not traveling since New Year's Day against a Dallas team that's traveled each of the last 4 weeks, it's a good matchup spot in my mind for San Fran. And I will say, I like equally as much as I like the 49ers. I know I gave them as my best bet, and it was fun to kind of, for the first time, go have a head-to-head on the show. I like equally as much the over in this game. San Francisco has been putting up points with Brock Purdy, and the defense is maybe a little bit overrated. They're going to see a good Dallas offense now. I think we're going to see points in this game, and I think that passing props for the Cowboys are also really attractive.
All right, Josh, like Julian said, you guys are going head-to-head on this one. You like the boys.
I know, and we probably shouldn't go place a bet at the sportsbook. Let's bet between each other. We'll
Yes.
save the juice.
Some juice.
It'll be even both sides here, and at least one of us will win. But to me, I got to stay true to, as a contrarian, data-driven bettor, what the market is telling me. So, we went into this weekend where there were 2 really trendy dogs, Cincy today, and obviously Giants yesterday, and then we had 2 contrarian dogs, Jags yesterday and Dallas here today. So I'm definitely wary of San Francisco. I bet against them quite a bit. They proved me wrong quite a bit. But again, staying true to the market here, you're getting a majority of bets on San Francisco, but pretty much a line freeze. That's when you have heavy betting one side, but the line won't move. And even some reverse line movement where this thing got down to 3.5. So reading between the lines, it never really got up closer to 5, even though it's a public play. It's even tipped down here toward Dallas. So if public here is taking San Francisco, why is this line kind of refusing to budge here? That tells me respective money is leaning here on Dallas. That's why I'll take the points here, Jesse. And real quick, with these totals, just looking at percentages, Buffalo Bills game, we go back to real quick, 80% of bets are on that over, but that total fell. It was 50, now it's 49. I see a 48.5. You could have some weather in Buffalo. It could be snowy, a little bit of wind here, maybe some sleet. So that's a big public play over, but yet the line has fallen. And when you see the total of 48 or more in a playoff game last 5 years, the under is 22-12, 65%. So that's another kind of contrarian bet based on the data to maybe go under in the Bills game.
That total does kind of remind me a little bit of the Chiefs-Jags total yesterday, which did wind up going under similar weather conditions as well.
All right, good stuff, guys. Coming up, we're going to see which prop bets you guys are on for today. The Sweat will be right back. Welcome back to The Sweat, presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. We're here to wrap things up. I'm Jesse Cofield, Steve Buchanan, Julian Edlow, VSiN's Josh Applebaum. All right, guys, 2 games today, obviously. Let's get your favorite prop bets. Josh, start us off.
So I'm going to go Christian McCaffrey here. It's a little bit chalky here, Jesse, but he's minus 165 to have a touchdown in this game, anytime TD score. The thing I like about McCaffrey, if you play his anytime TD, is you kind of get best of both worlds. He could either run it in or he could catch a pass and go into the end zone. So in 12 games with San Francisco, number one, it's incredible he stayed healthy. He's been injured the last few years, so knock on wood. He's had great health here. But with 12 games on San Fran, he's had 11 touchdowns, 6 rushing, 5 receiving. I think Shanahan in a big game here maybe has something up his sleeve, something very creative. The other thing about McCaffrey, you always got to give respect to Kittle and to Debo. So he kind of, you can't double McCaffrey because it leaves these other guys open. So again, minus 165, a little bit expensive here, but I hope McCaffrey finds the end zone. I'll take his prop bet to score.
All right, sounds good. Julian, you're on the 49ers, but you like a Cowboy for your prop bet.
Yeah, this is what I'm calling like a somewhat semi-hedge to my Niners bet, but I like the over. I think we're going to see points. Dallas will still score. Dak Prescott, over 1.5 passing touchdowns here. The weakness of this Niners defense is the secondary. We know that. If you watched the Seattle game last year, you saw DK Metcalf, some of those receivers, getting downfield and making plays. So I'm pretty confident that Dak Prescott, who just threw 4 touchdown passes in Tampa, is going to be able to make some plays. And if I am right about the Niners, who are hopefully leading, then the game script plays in Dallas passing from behind. So I think there's a lot of ways to cash both tickets. And simply put, Dak has gone over this prop in 9 of his last 11 games. I'm surprised that it's priced where it is.
I'm assuming you agree because you're on the Cowboys today.
I would agree with that. Also, by the way, I know when they only have a minute here. Brett Maher, will he miss a kick today? Plus 350. Put $5 on it. Let's miss a kick.
Yeah. Steve, where do you go for your prop?
Yeah, Dawson Knox, anytime touchdown at plus 175. He's been huge for the Bills in the red zone. 9 red zone targets, 4 of them which have come since week 16 here. I think he's going to get into the end zone, but that doesn't mean the Bengals still can't cover. So both bets. 5.5 for the Bengals. Dawson Knox anytime.
We have
touchdown.
a lot of playing both sides here on the props and sides.
Sprinkle on this, a sprinkle on that. All right, that is a show, everybody. Thank you so much, guys. We're going to be back next Sunday. Same time, same place. Emerson might be here for the conference championship games.
We'll see.
We're live every day at 11 a.m. on the DraftKings socials. Enjoy the divisional round. See you next week.